Hello. Today we're going to talk about the non-running training that I've been doing for this marathon. Specifically what I do in the gym. I thought we'd mix it up a little bit. We've had quite a lot of running content. So yeah, get a drink, get cozy. It's currently raining where I am now, so yeah. Get a blanket, get snuggly, get a hot drink, and yeah, we'll get started. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about the non-running training I've been doing, which complements the running. So I'll just talk a little bit about, like, we'll put it into context basically. So I've been running 2 times a week with my run club. Occasionally I'll do a Sunday, but that will be more I'll go to those more frequently, I think, when I'm post-marathon and then like post-recovery for the marathon. With my run club, I do try and do about 12k a week. Sometimes that will be a 4k on a Tuesday and an 8k on a Thursday, or I'll do 6k for both. And that means that I can just like plan my other running around that. So I'll either do like an interval run during the week, although less so. I think I started to get a bit burnt out with it, so I kind of started to drop it because I'm not focusing on a time. Obviously I've spoken about having the 6-hour cutoff, but it's not like, I don't think it's like hard and fast on that 6-hour cutoff for the marathon, but I know I can do that anyway. So it's just like I got to a point where my pace is comfortable so that I can fit within those 6 hours. So yeah, so I think my pace is fine. So I kind of dropped the interval training about a month ago because I was getting so tired and burnt out, and I was risking injuring myself more. And I hate interval training, so it wasn't a big deal. But I'm comfortable with my pace, so I don't do that much anymore. And then I have been doing long runs on the weekend. Obviously, you've seen I did 18k, and I've done the 25k race that I ended up. I think they must have measured it wrong, because everybody who did it with me was like, oh yeah, it wasn't quite 25k, it's like 23 point something. Although like the 55k, I think that one was spot on, but I think the 25k on the day turned out to be like 23 point something. But with all the walking around that I ended up doing outside of the race during the day, I ended up doing the equivalent of like 30k, but just like the rest of it was walking. But that's fine, so I know I can have that much time on my feet and stuff, so I'm not too worried about that. Yeah, it was a nice surprise. So yeah, so I've been doing long runs on the weekend, and I've been doing run club stuff, and I was doing interval training. Now, in between that time, I was going to the gym, and I've made sure to do sort of 2 sessions in the gym per week. I used to do, which I'll show you now, an upper body and a lower body. And then in the last couple of weeks, my Ladies Who Lift class has been back on a Wednesday, so it means that I can actually do it. They were doing it on a different day that I couldn't make due to other commitments, but now they're back on. So I do 2 full body workouts a week now instead. So one of them will be with my gym class and one of them will be by myself. But when I had the idea for this and I filmed, I was doing an upper body and a lower body, so that's what we're going to talk about today. So first of all, we'll talk about the lower body and why I do the moves that I do. So the first movement that I do is RDLs, which stands for Romanian deadlifts, and they are really good at working your hamstrings, your glutes and your lower back. Obviously they're all really important for running. And I was using 10 kilogram discs. I think it was about 45 kilograms in total with the bar. So yes, I was doing those. And again, I think I've said I don't think I've said in a previous video actually. I think I've recorded it before and it'll be on the next one. But I've deliberately recently, in order to condition rather than build muscle, I've gone down on my weights, like on how heavy they are, and I have increased the number of reps to somewhere between 12 and 15. And what I've also done is slowed my pace down to give me that control. And then what that does is help you build muscle endurance, which again is why I've gone down in the weight, so that I can just keep doing it for longer. So that was really hard actually to get my head around to begin with, because I'm so, like, I was a gym girl before I started like training properly, and so it's so strange to me to go down in my weights anyway. Yeah, so you want to, like I say, I'm taking it a lot slower and like focusing on my breathing a lot more, which you should do anyway, but focusing on my breathing, focusing on my control, and again, like pushing myself to do more reps more slowly with a slightly lower weight. But yeah, RDLs are really good, as I say, for your hamstrings and your glutes and your lower back. And then another move that I didn't end up recording because it got really busy, so I didn't have a chance to like record myself without people in the background. But another one that's really, really important for your glute structure is, or your glute strength, I should say, not structure, is a hip thrust. When I'm on my own, I tend to use a machine if I can, and you just like, you sort of lie on almost like at a 45-degree angle, and then you've got like a place for your feet there, so you're sort of in that position with your legs like bent up, and you strap yourself in, and then you just like push your hips towards the sky and back down, and you've got your weights on the side there. So I tend to use that one. The problem is when I'm trying to record is that there's machines all around, so there were people using it, so I didn't want to put them in the video. It's just not polite. It's the same reason I don't film at Run Club. Like, people should have the option to not be putting their faces online. So I didn't record that, but that's also really good for your glute strength, which again is really important for running, and I think it's kind of not talked about as much, but one of the first things that came up for me when I was learning about this stuff was to have strong glutes and strong hamstrings. So yeah, and then again for leg day, the next one I did was sit down squats. Now I do like all sorts of squats, but when I'm using the bar as I am here, I do really like to sort of push myself slightly lower than I would if I was doing it like with a kettlebell or with dumbbells. So having a bench to sort of move down to kind of just deepens that squat. And as I say, I'm not at the point where I'm going to do an assisted squat that goes right down to the ground, because I'm trying to protect my knees at the moment and I'm not quite there yet. So sit down squats just help you get that slightly lower push down, which then again like helps build that strength in your muscles without having to go too heavy on the bar. And then if I remember correctly, I think squats are really good for like all of your leg muscles. The next thing I do is a step up, and again I'm kind of using a machine for this, but you can just do it on a bench, or some gyms will have like I guess like a footstool type thing that you can use to like step up onto. But I really like using that machine because, one, that's what it's for, and two, I can set the height exactly where I know I need to be. So yeah, I was using an 8k dumbbell to like I say, increase the weight, so it's just like a little bit more than my body weight. I just use one 8k dumbbell when I'm run training. When I'm in the off season, I'll use two. And yeah, it just gives you that it's just a fun exercise as well. It's quite nice to do. I quite enjoy that one. And the next one that I did was split squats. Now these were actually supposed to be lunges, and it just works your muscles slightly differently. I think is what my PT said, but the difference, like visually, is that, as you can see here in this one, I'm just going up and down, whereas like in a lunge, you'll either step forward or step back, depending on if you're doing like a straight lunge or a reverse lunge. So yeah, so it just works slightly differently. But split squats work different muscles to normal squats. So yeah, so you can do both. And then the last one, which is probably my favourite one, because you always look a bit silly doing it, but like in a nice way, like I find it quite fun, is calf raises. Now normally I would again use a machine for this, because then I can put my ankles like lower, or sorry, put my heels lower. So instead of just going like raising up, I would go down as well, and that's basically one of the best ones for running, I think, and it really, really helps your calves get stronger. And for me personally, with my like old ankle injury, it's one of the best things I've ever done to like keep it strong and keep it resilient. So even if I do sort of trigger it, my recovery time is so much better, just because that strength is there. So yeah, so calf raises always look a bit silly as well, and I don't think you can see it in the video, but I was actually holding 2 10k dumbbells to try and increase that weight on them, but just going up and down on the floor is enough. I have also thought since that what I could have done was try and balance on the feet of the bench, but I didn't know that at the time. And as I say, the machine was taken and it started to get really busy, so I also didn't want to get in anyone's way. The reason I do it against the bench in this though is because my balance is crap, and so if I push up, it means that like if I'm a little bit wobbly, I can just lean a little bit, I can lean forward, and then it steadies me without having to impact the movement. So yeah, so that's why I do it against the bench there. Okay, so arm day. Now arm day is slightly different because it's not like directly related to running, in the sense of like you don't use your arms to like run in the same way that you use your legs. Like obviously you're like moving your arms, but it's overall strength building as well. So yeah, but it just benefits us like in so many different ways that aren't necessarily like direct to running, but running related in general. Arm day is probably my favourite day, and it's generally more upper body rather than just arms. But yeah, so I started with a shoulder press, and I used the bar, which is 20 kilos I think here. So I use the bar. Normally I use the I sit on the bench and I use dumbbells, but I fancied a change, and the bar was free and the benches weren't. So yeah, it's unusual for me to stand while doing it, and sometimes I use a bench, or most of the time I use a bench. But yeah, because I've been using 8k dumbbells, and then this was another like 4k heavier than what I normally lift, I did sort of struggle with this one, so I did rush it a little bit. The next workout I finally got a bench and I got my 8Ks back, so I did a chest press. PT, some people like to do it at a 45-degree angle. I'll be honest, don't know what the difference is. I just do what my PT tells me to do. And then tricep extensions, which I always find look a bit silly, but again, they weight your tricep, which is like this bit here, and yeah, that one I'm finding quite tough to do in this video. I think I went up to a 14k, which is too heavy for me. So I think on the last set I actually went down to a 12, which is way more in my comfort zone. But yeah, I did 14 for the first ones and I found them quite difficult. But I didn't have any DOMs the next day from it, whereas normally I think I would have done. But yeah, I had to drop down on that one. I also used the row machine. Now I did start off on a different machine where you put the weighted discs on, but I like using it, don't get me wrong, but you're pulling it towards your chest. Even if you like push the seat up, you know, I've got a really short body, so I'm still pulling it quite high up. So I'm pulling it towards my chest, which is fine. And my hands are really far apart, so it doesn't feel as comfortable as the row that I actually wanted to do. So I did one set on there, and then the actual row machine that I wanted became free. So that way I could have the handles are slightly closer together, and you can pull to your like aiming for your belly button. And what that does is it just, yeah, I don't actually know what it does, but there's a gym influencer that I really like, and she always says like, oh, it's what gives you a snatched waist, and I think that's just stuck with me. But it feels more comfortable, like the rows that I'm normally doing. And like when I do bent over rows, which is when you do it with like dumbbells or a bar, you are aiming for that like lower, like the lower part of your abdomen when you're like pulling it towards you. So yeah, so that it just makes that more comfortable, more readily available. But I do like doing rows on the row machine. Although you do sometimes, because it's right opposite the lat pull down, and sometimes if there's somebody on there, you're kind of just making awkward eye contact while you're trying to breathe. So you've got like your game face on, and you're just like, and they're looking at you, and you're just like, this is really awkward. Yeah, anyway, and then the next one I did was the lat pull down, which again was the opposite side to the row. And that again, I like it when it's slightly higher, like further apart on the handle, so that you're sort of pulling in this, like your arms go to this 90-degree angle, and then you just pull it down to your chest. You do like a little lean back, and then when you go up, you lean forward. Again, lat pull downs are probably my favourite arm exercise, and one of my goals once I've recovered from the marathon is to start working on being able to do a pull-up. At the moment, the progress that I had made on it has completely backtracked, and that is again fine. It's not my focus at the moment, but I would really like to do a pull-up by the end of the year, so we'll see what happens with that. But at the moment I think I've managed to do quite well in keeping my lateral pull downs at that like 35 to 40 kg on that particular machine. So yeah, there's also 2 other machines that you can use in my gym, which are both very comfortable, so I don't care which one I use on those. And again, you've got like your pull-up machine, and you've got like places you can do like an organic pull-up, I guess, where it's not on a machine. Really proud of that. And that also like works out your upper back, so you're trying to like squeeze your sort of shoulder blades together when you do it, so you can really feel it like here. I don't know if you can see that in the gym, you can feel it here. And then the last one that I do is the most humbling exercise you will do. So if there's people here who don't go to the gym who are watching, I tend to drop down to about 5k, but I could not find a 5 or a 4 across the gym, and I could see people using them, and I was really annoyed, and all I had was 6k, and I find the 6k really hard to use right now. But it's a lateral raise, and so you're like lifting, and the reason it's so hard is because you're using like one particular muscle, and I can't remember what Amy said, but it's like one particular muscle that you're trying to use, and it just makes it really hard because that's the only thing that will work out that particular muscle. So yeah, that's why I'm like going down to these almost like baby weights. So I'm like most comfortable at the moment with a 4. To push myself, I'll do a 5, but then yeah, I can only use a 6 sometimes, like if I'm feeling particularly strong, but I had to do it that day. So I think I did 2 rounds of 8 reps, whereas like I've been trying to do like 12 or 12 to 15 depending on what I'm working out. But I was 2 rounds of 8 and then 1 of 6, and yeah, I find them quite, or like lateral side raises I should say, because you've also got like one that goes like out in front. So yeah, lat side raises. That was trying to do. But yeah, so that was my 2 upper body and lower body. I also do some ab workouts as well, although I do tend to like struggle to film them again because it's in the like, there's like mats that are built into the floor. and they're always full because that's where people will do like their warm-ups and cool downs. So I will tend to do like a V-up, which is where you are lying on your back and you stretch out your arms and legs, and then you sort of pull one arm and the opposite leg up to the sky and then back down, and then you'll swap over. So I do V-ups. I also do a similar sort of thing where you hold, I do like you, I can't remember what it's called, but you're like lying on your back, you hold like a 10k or a 5k disc weight like out in front of you, and then you like raise your leg one at a time. Planks, I can do a minute, so I'll do that 3 times. I tend not to do push-ups because I already do like shoulder press or like a bench press, so I tend not to do push-ups. Also, I find them really annoying at the moment, but again, that was something that I was getting quite good at before I started training again for the marathon, so that will be another thing I'm trying to get back to once I've recovered. Dead bugs is a good one, and then there's always like what they call a cat-cow, where you are like on all fours. You do it a lot in yoga, and you just like push your back up and then push it like that, so you're like just doing that with your body. That's always a good one. I'm trying to think what else. They tend to be the ones that I do, and I tend to stick them on the end of whatever I've been doing. So I do like 6 exercises of like leg or arms, and then I was doing like one of the 3. But again, I hate ab workouts. And it's so silly because they're so important. Oh, a V-hold, that's another one that I do. Where you literally are just, you put your body in like a V shape, so your arms and your legs are up, and you just hold it for as long as possible. It's kind of like the inverse of a plank, where you're like, yeah, so you just hold it for as long as you can. That one I'm about 45 seconds per time. But again, I haven't done that one for a while because I hate it. But yeah, I tend to do like 3 of the 6 that I do on the end of the like whatever workout I've done. But again, so I said more recently that my gym class is back on a Wednesday, so I can go again, and that's a full body. So what I will do when that happens is I'll follow Amy's instruction, and she changes it in like, we'll have like blocks, so she'll change it between each block, and then what I will do on my own is do whatever exercise I didn't do in the Ladies Who Lift, then I will do that on my own, so I'm getting like the full amount. And what I have noticed is it takes the pressure off my legs after leg day, so it means that I'm not like stretching those muscles or like causing the like causing the soreness to quite such an extent, and that's been really, really helpful towards the end of my marathon training, because it means that my recovery doesn't need to be quite so intense. So yeah, so it's working out quite well. I've got 2 gym sessions left before my marathon. I'm going to do one of them this weekend, and then the other one is on Wednesday, and I'm literally lowering my weights to basically body weight, or like if I do need something to balance, like we've been doing Bulgarian split squats, which is where it's like a split squat but your back leg is elevated, and I can't do it just on my own. I have to balance, otherwise I spend my whole time wiggling around, whereas like if I hold a dumbbell in my hand while I do it, it helps to keep me steady. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll probably have like a 4k on that one, but again, it's just to keep my body active but not putting it under any pressure at all, so I don't need to like strictly recover from it. What I don't want to do is lose or risk losing progress. So yeah, because next week is like full taper week as opposed to this week, which has been I guess like the first taper week, like, so I've just been cutting down, or I should have been cutting down, but I haven't so far. So yeah, it's just been like tapering off, which is why it's called taper week. Whereas next week it'll be like, I'll probably do about 4k on Tuesday if I can wrangle it, and then go to the gym on Wednesday, and then that'll be it until Sunday, apart from maybe a shakeout run on the Saturday depending on how I feel. So yeah, so we're getting close now. Cool. Well, I'm done with another video, so I'm gonna ask again. I always feel really awkward doing this, but I think I'm gonna feel awkward forever, but please like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you've got any questions about exercise, or ways to get started in the gym, then please leave a comment and I will make a video on it if that's what you want. Or if you have any questions at all related, and yeah. Oh, I tell you what I could do is I could do a Q&A with Amy if that's what you want, when she gets back from her big long holiday. But yeah, please like and subscribe. That would be very nice. And then if you hit the bell to be notified about videos as and when they come out, that would also be, I'd also be really grateful for that. And yeah, just have fun. Cool. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.